Say something, Garrett.
Say what? What's up?
Yo, bro, what you got going on? Hey, Wancho,
Yo,
you can hear him now, Wancho?
yo, Wancho.
I can hear him. Appreciate you.
All right.
Appreciate you. Jeez Louise, a lot of
Wancho,
technical
chill,
difficulties.
chill out.
Yo, Juan, please do
Golly.
not scare him off, bro. He's not
Yo.
he's not ready for us, bro. He's not ready for that. He's not ready for that. I promise you.
Uh,
I can't paste the link, but it's whatever. All right. After all the technical difficulties, we finally got it set up. We're gonna go ahead and get into it. So with that being said, it's the first episode of Wartime Podcast. I'm Anderson, aka Andy. This the co-host Garrett. You know, whatever you want to call him. Some
Sir.
people call him Gare Bear. You know,
Hey,
all
nah,
I'm saying.
nah,
Wancho.
nobody
Uh,
calls me Gare Bear.
But
Chill
with
out.
that being said, thank you guys for tuning in to the first episode, whether that be on Twitch, YouTube, whatever it is. You know. Oh my God. We're not even gonna get into all that. Uh, but you know, Garrett, you got anything to say? You wanna introduce yourself? Anything?
Yeah, Garrett. I'm the Alabama fan in this. Um, you know, first time being on Twitch, so bear with me. Gotta get used to it.
Who's the cutie on the left? That's
All
Garrett
right,
Bear, bro. Hey,
all right, all
a
right.
lot
Chill
of
out, chill
flirting
out.
going on. Not enough college football talk.
I was
A
about to
lot of
say,
flirting going on.
we need some football.
But with that being said, we're gonna start out with the first 10 minutes going to what we think of Alabama and Auburn so far. Both, well, one team 3-0, one team not so fortunate, you know. So I guess we're gonna let the co-hosts, everybody flirting with you, so we're gonna let you take the floor for about 5 minutes. See what you got to say. We're gonna converse about Alabama. I'll start a little timer
All
for
right,
us.
yeah.
So I guess where we start is the big obvious. What happened?
It's about that the week one game.
That's the most interesting thing that's
Yeah,
happened in the last 3 weeks for Bammers over there.
yeah, right. Yeah. Well, Florida State better than I think everybody anticipated. Alabama struggled on the road under Kalen DeBoer. They even struggled on the road, kind of at the tail end of Saban's career. Struggled with discipline. That definitely played an effect. Week one, the crowd. I don't think they were really ready. I don't think Florida State's a better football team than Alabama. But it was clear that they were more a competitive football team than Alabama. All 60 minutes, Alabama just got dominated any which way you can imagine, and there was nothing they could do to stop Gus Malzahn's offense. I don't know what he's got against Alabama, but he needs to
Hey,
go ahead and get away because I'm tired of him. But
hey,
just nothing we could do about it.
when it comes to Gus Malzahn,
Hey,
once a Tiger, always a Tiger. He's always gonna have that hate.
dude,
He's had that hate for what
hey,
since 2010 when he was the OC.
something like that.
Oh wow, so you know, my thing is like I've talked to Bama fans like y'all gotta fire DeBoer. Some people not ready to give up on him. Some people are. I don't think he's the right fit. Personally, he can stay as long as he want. He can stay as long as he want. But what I've seen from Kalen DeBoer is he's just constantly playing to what the expectations are of the opponent. He's not playing towards what Alabama should be. He's playing towards what he think the opponent is going to be. And as the Alabama head coach, you can't do that. I mean, pretty soon it won't be like this if it keeps up the way that it's going. But as of right now, for the past decade and a half, you beat Bama, you win the Super Bowl. And we still exiting that area of
Right.
Saban. So people see Bama on their schedule, especially a team like Florida State who just got, knocked out of the playoffs a few years because people thought Alabama was more deserving. You got a target on your head, and you got to walk around like you got a target on your head. So I don't know. The board just don't got that fire. He don't give enough, passion. He don't put that fire into his he don't put that passion into the team. Is AJ McCarron still Bama's quarterback? No, Wancho is not. But I just don't think the board
About
gives
a
that
decade too
fire
late.
in that fight that they need to have to be
Yeah.
Alabama.
Well, Yeah, I mean that's the question. He's never been in the SEC, and anybody, you can say what you want about other conferences in the SEC, but the SEC really is just different. You have to be prepared to play every single Saturday because in the SEC, like they're coming after you.
Mm-hmm.
They don't care who you are. You're going to get their best game. And then when the SEC goes out of conference, there's a lot of conference pride within the ACC that wants to beat the SEC. So, looking at a place like Florida State, 2-10 last season, everybody knows that. That doesn't matter. They fully thought they could beat Bama, and they went out and proved it. And Alabama didn't seem to believe it until they lost by 2 touchdowns. So that's that. That's the board's got to figure that out, or yeah, we will be looking for a new head coach.
But the following 2 weeks, I've been very impressed with Ty Simpson. I wasn't a Ty Simpson hater. I don't think they lost game one because of Ty Simpson. A lot of people were blaming Ty Simpson.
I agree.
They're always quick to blame the quarterback. Why?
Very.
I can't tell you. But I don't think Ty Simpson was was the reason y'all lost. I thought Ty Simpson played his butt off in game one. I thought Ty Simpson came to play game 2 and 3. I think the struggle in game one was literally everybody else. Nobody else came to play but Ty Simpson, especially Ryan Williams.
Yeah,
but we're gonna get into some SEC quarterbacks, so we'll come back to Ty Simpson a little bit later. But how do you feel about the last 2 weeks?
So going back on week one, you're right. Nobody showed up to play except for 2 guys, in my opinion, Ty Simpson and Jeremy Bernard. Those are the only 2 that showed up to play. The amount of times I saw the back of Ty Simpson's jersey because he's running around in the backfield because his offensive line can't block for him way too many times. But the past 2 weeks, I still think our offensive line needs to show a lot more. They got bullied by Wisconsin. Wisconsin just could not guard our passing game. Because I am a big believer in Ty Simpson. He has been incredibly accurate. Right. Let's see. I mean, this past Saturday, he was 24 of 29, and 2 of those were dropped. So he should have been 26 of 29 and should have had 5 touchdowns if Ryan Williams could catch a football. And then the previous week, 17 for 17. Dude's been balling out. He's incredibly accurate when he has time, when we have the right play calling, which I think Ryan Grabowski is a great play caller, and they're only going to get more comfortable with each other. So as the season goes along, I would expect Ty Simpson's going to look really good, and it's only a matter of time before, he's going to be on everybody's radar.
Well, I know I told you at the beginning of the season, I'm scared of Ty Simpson. I'm pretty sure I told you that. I don't know if I told you. I know I told my wife that. I know I told my dad that. If anybody on that Bama team scares me, it's Ty Simpson because he stayed there, worked his butt off, and now he's the starter. Anybody who stays and deserves and earns their spot, I'm a fear, bro, just naturally. But with that being said, time to move on to my side. We got 5 minutes on the Auburn side. To open it out, we 3-0. A lot of questions coming into the season about Jackson Arnold. Obviously, didn't work out in Oklahoma. Do I think it was his fault in Oklahoma? No, I do not. So when we got Jackson Arnold, I wasn't necessarily scared because you have to look at all the things that happened in Oklahoma, like all the injuries on the O-line and wide receiver room, and they fired the OC halfway through the season. And when you put a quarterback through something like that, it's just hard to succeed. I will say it was between 2 guys in the portal for Auburn, Malik Murphy and Jackson Arnold. I was a Malik Murphy guy personally to start out, but I was more so looking at the floor compared to ceiling. I'd rather have just the better floor than I would the better ceiling. But it didn't work out that way, and maybe it's for the better. You look at Oregon State right now, and they're not doing so hot. You look at Auburn, we starting out 3-0. But I will say, up to this point, I think play calling's been better. This is the best I've seen Hugh Freeze as an Auburn head coach, play to win. Not trying to enforce what he believes, but playing to win. Can DJ Durkin do better? Yes, he can. Can the communication between the DBs be better? Yes, it can. But, it's the struggles of a really young team. A lot of true sophomores, a lot of redshirt freshmen, a lot of true freshmen. So that's really just the struggles of a young team. I'm glad to see that the offense is intact for a change, and we just need to work on the defense because I know the talent is there on the defensive end. We just have to get it together.
Yeah, you're talking about Jackson Arnold. Yeah, Oklahoma, I don't think it was his fault. They didn't really, like you said, fire the offensive coordinator. That who the offensive coordinator, who the play calling is, matters more than
Oh
what I
yeah.
think we realize. That is a big deal. One thing that's I was worried about this season, specifically him in this Hugh Freeze offense. Hugh Freeze's offense usually are a little bit more turnover prone, and Jackson Arnold was turnover prone last year, but he has no interceptions through 3 games so far.
By the way,
That was a
I'm not
big
trying to
concern.
cut you off, but one of
No,
3 SEC quarterbacks to have 0 interceptions so
yeah,
far. Just thought I'd put that out there.
both in the two of them in the same state. Ty ain't got an interception yet either, so they're protecting the football. Jackson, that's been impressive, and I know we'll talk about SEC quarterbacks and next week a little bit more later, so I ain't gonna talk too much about it. But I am interested to see how he responds versus the best defense he's gonna see this year, where he's probably gonna have to throw it more than he did. So I mean, this Saturday he only had 142 passing yards. I think if you're gonna go in Oklahoma and beat Oklahoma, you're going to have more than 142 passing yards unless your team rushes for like 350. Very well could be possible, but Oklahoma's got a great defense. So I guess what I'm looking for is can the secondary get better because they did give up more passing yards uh, to South Alabama than what they got, and then can they rely on the throwing on the passing game when they need to?
Well, see, my thing is, to start off with the defense, the coverage has looked bad. I can't argue, I can't deny that the coverage has looked bad, specifically over the middle when it comes to linebackers and safeties. The middle has just been wide open.
Yeah,
But I will say, when the other team gets into that red zone, we not letting them score. We're
bend
getting
don't break.
turnovers. We're getting turnovers. We're getting stops. We're stopping them on 4th down and goal. And to me, it's ugly, but it could be worse. We could be, letting them score. They could drive all the way down the field, and they could score. So like I said, the talent's there. I think it'll come together. I really like DJ Durkin. He's getting paid the money he's getting paid for a reason. I think he's the second highest paid coordinator in the nation, and I think he deserves it. And I think he'll show
Yeah,
that. The only thing I don't like about DJ Durkin is them 3rd and 4th and longs. He stays doing that 3-man sending 3 everybody back in coverage, and somehow somebody's still open.
yeah,
And then, like you said, you're a little worried with the pass game on Auburn. My pushback on that would be, they went out and got Eric Singleton. They recruited Cam Coleman. They got Malcolm Simmons. They got Bryce Caines. They got Perry Thompson. They got playmakers. All Jackson Arnold has to do is get them the ball. That's all he has to do. His only job is to put it between the numbers, put it in their hands. Sometimes when you throw into somebody like Cam Coleman, you just put it in a mile radius.
yeah.
You
Anywhere, bro.
just give it to him. You just give him a shot. And
Yeah.
I don't think it's so much on Jackson Arnold as it is the play calling, the schemes to get the wide receivers open, and the ability to catch and finish the ball.
Yeah, I mean, that's the question. Cam Coleman only had 2 receptions this past Saturday. I know it's South Alabama, but you'd like to see him touch the ball
Right.
more. He is supposed to be your number one guy. So I'd like to see him touch the ball more. Well, actually, I hope he doesn't touch the ball
I
more.
would
But
like
I
to
know
see it
as
too.
an Auburn fan, yeah, you're gonna want to see him touching the ball more for sure. So, but that's just play calling. Can you call plays that's gonna get Cam open, and then can they make the plays? I think they have the talent to, like you said.
I guess with that being said, we're gonna go ahead and go into our first game review, which is Texas A&M and Notre Dame. We're gonna go ahead and get into that. I don't know if you have anything to open with, or if you would like me to.
Ah, you go ahead.
Hey, first off, all I have to say, being from Clay, growing up in Clay Chapel, how about Mario Craver? How about
Baller.
Mario Craver? What a way to ball. I think he had over 200 yards catching
Yeah.
and a touchdown, or was it 2 touchdowns?
Hmm. He had 7 receptions, 207 yards, 1 touchdown, and he had 4 20+ yard receptions.
Man, just seeing somebody like that come from your hometown where you grew up, that's amazing to see. Anytime I get to see somebody ball out like that coming from where I come from, it just makes me happy. No matter what team they're on, it could be a team. It could be Alabama. If they came from Clay Chapel like Jalen Mbakwe, I want him to ball.
Mbakwe.
I want him to ball.
Yeah.
Now when he comes to that Iron Bowl, but leading up to that, I want all them guys coming from my area, to be successful, to rock out, so that's my opening statements with the Texas A&M game. I'm just happy to see people from my town where I grew up succeed.
Yeah, I mean, this heck of a game. For any Texas A&M fans that made the trip to South Bend, this is going to be a story they tell their grandchildren about the time they went up to South Bend and beat Notre Dame in what was a great game. Obviously, a tough blow for Notre Dame, messing up the extra point attempt, which is ultimately that's not what lost them the game. There's 60 minutes of football. One play does not lose you a game. But I did find it interesting. Do you know who the holder was who dropped the pat attempt?
No.
It's the name Tyler Buckner. Ring a bell.
That sounds familiar. I can't tell you why though.
Yeah. So he was the Notre Dame starting quarterback before he transferred to Alabama and started versus USF, excuse me, that terrible game a couple years ago. So he sat behind Jalen Milroe for a year, then decided football's not really for him. Nick Saban scared him out of football, I guess. I don't know. Decided to go play lacrosse because why not? And then now he's back on the Notre Dame football team, holding the football. Not very well, apparently.
That lacrosse kid.
Yeah,
I remember.
Yeah.
I remember that. I remember hearing the Alabama kid transferring to go play lacrosse.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's him.
I don't know why he came back to just be a holder. Hey, he should have just stayed in lacrosse. I mean,
he was a good lacrosse player too.
Yeah, he was putting up numbers. I remember seeing it on my on ESPN, all of that. Man, the fact that he came back just to must have been an inside job. That's all I'm saying.
Must have been SEC. Hey, that his 1 year in the SEC did something to him.
I know he was at Alabama, but Jimbo was sliding him some money back in the day.
You know it.
Must have. So he had to pay him back right there. But I mean, Marcel Reed didn't even have a good game, and they still dominated offensively. No. You look at the playmakers they had, like Mario Craver, like Busty. What was that other receiver? There was another receiver that had a good game.
KC Concepcion, is that who you're thinking about?
Yeah, KC Concepcion. He had some big catches, and the biggest catch of them all, the little PA boot to the tight end for game.
Yes, sir. Great catch.
I mean, like I said, Marcel Reed didn't have the best game, but he put it on. But he put it on his chest. He put it only where his tight end could grab it, and the tight end came down with the ball, did the job. That's a blocking tight end right there.
Good quarterbacks. Yeah. Good quarterbacks make plays when it matters. They find a way to win games. He found a way to win this game. A couple interesting stats from this game. So Marcel Reed, 17 to 37.
Yeah.
That's 45%, which if you tell Notre Dame fan that at home they're going to score 40 and hold the opposing quarterback to 45% completion percentage, they're putting their mortgage on the fact that they're going to win that game. But they didn't. Here's why. 86, 16, 45, 21, 24, 31, 18, and 34. That's 8 numbers. Out of his 17 completions, nearly half of them were 16 or more. They could not guard down the field.
They were crazy.
Airing it out over and over and over again. Heading in the season, you heard Mike Elko talk about the vertical passing game. He was very confident in it. People were skeptical. Could Marcel Reed make the plays? Yada, yada. I think we see that they can. They brought in 2 transfer portal wide receivers. And in this game, so far this season, transfer wide receivers, including Mario Craver and KC Concepcion, have 33 receptions, 670 yards, 7 touchdowns. Just from the transfer portal.
That is crazy.
So, you see a team like Clemson who hates the transfer portal.
Right.
Texas A&M is using it to their best benefit and is, winning games with it. They're 3-0 now,
Right.
largely because what they did in the transfer portal with wide receivers.
I mean, just to talk about the transfer portal, you look at a team like Texas Tech, who did not have a good year at all last year, and then they go out and blow up the transfer portal, and they're favorites to win the Big 12.
Yeah.
Teams
Right,
like
right,
Clemson,
right now.
coaches like Dabo Swinney, it's just you got to adapt with the game, and these transfer guys, and I can speak for it, watching Auburn play. Auburn had a terrible year last year. We lose even more games without the transfer portal, and we don't get a guy like Keandre Lambert-Smith. We
Yeah.
For better or for worse, we don't get somebody like Peyton Thorne, which he had his downs, but there were times he showed leadership. I'm not a fan of him. But, who would have been the quarterback? A true freshman, a true 4-star freshman in the SEC. So just you have to adapt. That speaks a lot for actually going out, being an aggressive recruiter within high school and the transfer portal. You can't win without it. But I thought it was really impressive. I had doubts coming into the season about Texas A&M, not because of Marcel Reed. Let me make that clear. I'm a Marcel Reed believer, but I had my doubts about Texas A&M. They came in against the runner-ups, that is Notre Dame, but the runner-ups for a reason. And they came into their house and took care of business. And
did what they had to do.
I was really impressed. Kind of put a little fear in me because we gotta go. Yeah. We gotta go to Kyle Field. Yeah. Not the most excited for that, but so they definitely impressed. They definitely balled out. Obviously, defense could have played a little bit better, but what are you gonna do to stop Jeremiah Love? I think Jeremiah Love, win or loss, he didn't have the best running game, but he did everything. So I think he needs to get more Heisman talk. I think Marcel Reed is going to get more Heisman talk as the year goes on, even though he didn't have a good game. I thought Mario Craver played really good. I thought Casey Concepcion played really good. Bussy played really good. I think, I mean, what more can you do if you're Notre Dame? I don't think there's much you could have done, except make an extra point attempt.
make an extra point. Stop them on 4th and goal from the 8.
Yeah. But
it was a great game. Great game.
Fantastic game. We was playing college football. We said, hold on, we have to finish the game.
We had to stop.
So any game like that, I'm always interested. Thought Notre Dame fought well because I'm a Notre Dame disrespecter. Any team like that just have cupcakes the whole year, it's kind of hard to put respect on your name. So they put up a good fight. Texas A&M impressed me. Do you have anything more to say about this game?
Yeah. Texas A&M has actually a pretty workable schedule for the SEC standards. I don't think they play Georgia. I don't think they play Bama. They just got past Notre Dame. They're now 3-0. So last year, if they were to beat Texas the last game of the season, they were going to Atlanta. So I think this was going to be one of those teams, especially the way Arch is looking, like down the stretch of the season.
Right.
You could find Texas A&M in Atlanta very quietly. That's watch out for them. I don't want to play them this year. I was thinking about that the other day. I do not. I'm so glad Alabama does not play A&M this year.
Well, unfortunately, Auburn has to play. I'll worry about that in 2 weeks. I got one to worry about before we get there. All right, so we ready to go on to the next one?
Yeah.
Ben Bryant said, now this is what I like to hear. No, you don't want to hear this, brother. The next game is Georgia versus Tennessee. He's a Tennessee fan. So let's get into this unexpected shootout. I didn't expect a shootout.
I thought it was going to be much lower scoring than this.
I turned on the game. I didn't watch kickoff. I turned on the game late. It's like he said, "Yeah, this is where I exit." But I turned on the game, and we're not even halfway through the first quarter. It's 14-7. That's 3 scores. We're not even halfway through. So I missed it. But if Ben's still here, just for Ben, on Tennessee side, I told him this after they lost. He wasn't trying to hear it. He probably not trying to hear it now. But to me, in my opinion, another team I had a lot of doubt about. I didn't know about Tennessee. I didn't know about Joey Aguilar. I didn't know how they was going to adapt after all the transfers out. I didn't know what they was going to do. I didn't know what they was going to do when they lost their best pass rusher, their best running back to the draft. So a team I had a lot of questions about. And, through 2 games, I wasn't a big fan of Joey Aguilar. He made plays. But to me, the completion percentage wasn't there. He's a little inconsistent. Some games he did better, some games he didn't. So he came in this game and he really impressed me against Georgia. A team like Georgia, a head coach like Kirby Smart, he started 14 of 14. Not many quarterbacks can do that against a coach like Kirby Smart. And he wasn't, running all over the field creating. He was getting his playmakers the ball. And he was very accurate while doing that. And then when he got his first drop, when he got his first incompletion, it was literally a drop screen. It was a screen pass right into the player's hands, and he dropped it. I don't remember who the player was that dropped it. I think it was a tight end or a running back. I couldn't tell you who dropped it, but I remember him dropping. I was like, man, I'd be so mad if I was Joey right now, because I'm 14 to 14. You just killed my momentum. But like I was saying, to me, it was a good loss because you showed that you're still a contender. Despite all the things that happened, despite the Nico drama, despite all the players you lost to the draft, despite getting blown out round 1 to Ohio State unexpectedly, despite all of that, you showed that you're still here, and I don't it's something that I didn't expect, that's for sure. And I think, a lot of that praise goes to coaching. Having the guys that you do have prepared, ready to play whoever that you need to play. Very disappointing from Georgia. Very impressive from a guy like Gunnar Stockton. But when I an Auburn fan see a performance like that from Georgia, I'm thinking there's a chance. Auburn gets a couple of them defensive stops that Tennessee couldn't get. We got a chance. So, a good loss for Tennessee. Any win, any SEC ranked win is a good win. So a good win for Georgia. But, it didn't look like the Georgia that we're accustomed to.
No, definitely. My first thoughts. Tennessee should have won this game. Jordan, winning a football game in that kind of environment takes a lot of skill, a lot of coaching, but also a little bit of luck. Georgia got a little bit of luck. Mm-hmm. That is no question about that. Yeah, this game was a shootout. I was watching this game in the car, and man, every 5 seconds it felt like there was a touchdown. Tennessee kind of got away from them, but I think that's where Kirby Smart and Georgia get the benefit of the doubt. They're going to calm down, they're going to make the right adjustments, and they fought their way back. You get in overtime, and they got that stop, forced them to a field goal. That's the most Kirby Smart thing I've ever seen. You've been getting killed all game, but your defense shows up and holds them to a 4th and 9 when it matters. And then your offense, 3 straight runs to put it in the end zone. That's what Kirby Smart does. That's why he gets the benefit of the doubt. They find ways to win games. Tennessee has definitely surprised me. To be honest, I felt like we should have seen this coming. You look back at Hendon Hooker, 24-year-old, super old, super mature, took care of the football, made the right reads, relied on his running game, and that's why that Tennessee team was so good. Here we are with Joey doing the same thing. A little bit older, more mature, been around, protecting the football, relying on the running game, making those that he needs to make. So I felt like we probably should have seen this coming because this is kind of seeming like a Josh Heupel guy, more so than Nico was, which that's a whole mess. But we didn't see it coming, and they've kind of snuck up on us. And I'm really glad Alabama doesn't go to Knoxville this year, but I'm still worried about Tennessee coming to town because they look good.
Another point to this is a good Tennessee loss. Tennessee scored 21 in the first. They didn't score again until 30 seconds left in the third quarter. And they still ended with 41 points.
Yeah.
So, you know, of course you knew coming out of halftime, if you put up 21 points out the gate on Georgia, Kirby's not finna let that slide. So
Yeah.
there's gonna be adjustments. The defense is gonna come ready to bang. They're gonna come ready to play. They're gonna get hard. They're gonna get physical. They're not gonna let you just dog walk them the whole game. You're not gonna put up 21 every quarter. So, the fact that okay, they made those adjustments, and then Tennessee at some point adapted because after a certain point, I'm thinking, man, this is gonna get ugly because they didn't score for almost 3 quarters,
Yeah.
and you're thinking,
Yeah.
oh, this is gonna get ugly, but they adapted themselves. They had a huge bomb play, throws it up in a one-on-one coverage, comes down head top. Next thing you know, they
Yeah.
score a touchdown, and that's all they needed, and it was right back in the game. It became a ball game again. When it looked like Georgia was pulling away, when it looked like Georgia was finna take that next step, Josh Hupal and that Tennessee coaching staff reeled it back in. Joey Aguilar did his thing. It says 2 interceptions. Both of those were not his fault. One
Nah.
was the wide receiver slipped on the turf and just threw it where he was supposed to be, and he wasn't because he slipped. So, Joey Aguilar had a good game, but fourth and 8, ball game on the line. Gunnar Stockton sees one-on-one coverage and he takes the shot. I didn't know he had it like that. I didn't know he was just gonna lay it on the table for everybody to see. He stepped back and threw probably the best pass I've seen all year. And that was an absolute dot. That was literally right into the breadbasket in the corner of the end zone, right there. So once I saw that, I'm not gonna say I knew it was over, but it's like, do they have enough to just keep up with playmakers? Like when you have them on the ropes, they're still making these kinds of plays. Ball game on the line, and that's what they decided to do. And
that was ball game on the line.
And then Tennessee, what I miss? We talking about Tennessee, Georgia right now. We finna move on to the next subject here in a second though. But and then Tennessee, they drop down, get in the field goal range, and they start talking about kickers never made a game-winning kick. Then he misses. They jinxed him right there, and after they missed the kick, that's when I was like, it's just not gonna happen, bro. You had your shot, got down there, kicked the field goal, missed, going into OT against Georgia. But
Yeah, I was sitting in Baumhauer's watching this game actually, and there was a lot of Tennessee fans sitting at the bar. And when that false start happened, you could feel them all start getting nervous.
That was it right there.
Yeah, and then when he missed, you could just feel the air come out. It's like everyone knew, all right, you let Kirby Smart get to overtime. This is where Georgia wants them right here, and this is where they got, and that's what happened. Georgia had them right where they wanted them.
Well, I mean, if you ever give Georgia a last second breath, you've messed up.
Hey.
I mean, that's just Kirby Smart for you, man. I mean, it doesn't matter what game, it doesn't matter who the opponent, how good, how bad. If they're down and they need a last ditch, effort, a last second breath, and you give it to them, you've messed up. And I've seen it time and time again.
Yep.
So, Georgia did what we expected Georgia to do. Tennessee really impressed me, even though they lost. They should have won. But any final thoughts on that game before we move on?
Yeah, I think it speaks volumes. The AP poll is junk anyway, but
right.
For the sake of this conversation, Tennessee heading into this game ranked 15. AP poll came out yesterday, they'll still rank 15. I think that shows that it's pretty clear, even though they lost, there's no such thing as a good loss per se,
right.
But Tennessee definitely got people's attentions, and they're good. No doubt in that. That's why they don't go down.
Yeah,
it's never a shame to lose to a Kirby Smart team.
Like I said, they really impressed me. So, on to the next subject. On to the next game. Ole Miss, Arkansas. A game I don't think either one of us expected it to be that exciting, that fun to watch. It's Ole Miss.
No.
I always expect, Lane to do something. But Arkansas, I didn't. I know about Taylor Green, but I ain't know they was coming like that. Uh,
Yeah.
41-35, one turnover in the entire game. That came in the most critical drive for Arkansas.
Yes. Last drive.
Man,
Yeah.
I mean,
All it takes.
that just shows you like that it's a chess game, man. Like you can be perfect, but you make that one wrong move and that's it. Just one.
One
You
mistake.
can do everything right. You can do everything perfect, and you still gonna find a way to fumble the game. No pun intended. No hate.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. No.
now you go ahead. It sound like you had something to say.
Yeah. Well, hey, Taylor Green, I knew about him. I thought going into the season he was the most under talked about and underrated quarterback in the SEC, and I still feel that way. I think as the season goes on, probably going to be the same thing. Arkansas is not getting a lot of attention. They're not going to get too many wins. But Taylor Green is that guy. He's 6'6", 225.
Right.
He's a beast of him. You see him out on the field, he looks different than everyone else. He can run, he can throw, he's mature, he's confident, which shows a lot. And this was a really good ball game, tough break for Arkansas. Like you said, the fumble right at the end. I felt confident that had that not happened, they would have gone down and scored and won the game.
Right.
I don't think Ole Miss was stopping them outside of that. But props to Ole Miss defense. They stood up when it mattered. They showed a lot of maturity, getting that fumble. Wasn't just a drop. They stripped it from him. They took that football from him, and that ended up being the difference in the game. So tough break for Arkansas, but that's football in the SEC.
While we're still talking about Arkansas, I didn't realize how good of a game Taylor Green had. I'm looking at the stats now. 305 passing yards with 115 rushing yards.
Dog.
I mean, man. And, football's a team sport. I'm just talking. If I'm in the locker room, I'm a team player. No disrespect to the other guys. But hypothetically, I'm Taylor Green and I ball out like that and we still lose. Oh, I'm mad. I'm mad, man.
Yeah.
Which realistically, like I said, I'm in that locker room. I'm a team player. We win as a team, we lose as a team. But right now, man, that's crazy. He really balled out. Arkansas had 221 total rushing yards and 305 passing yards. Kind of like what you were saying with Notre Dame. You tell that fan base, hey, you did this, and this. You betting a mortgage on it.
Winning the game. Yeah.
You tell me you throw for 305, no interceptions, and you run for 221 yards as a team, and you expect to win. Where'd it go wrong? And the number one thing is, obviously, you can't let up 41 points. Don't matter who you're playing, don't matter the week, don't matter the head coach, what their play style is, you can't let up 41 points. It's going to happen.
No, you can't.
But when you let up 41 points, it doesn't matter what you did. There's always a chance you lose when the other team put up 41 points. And so, that's kind of been really Sam Pittman's problem. There have been some impressive Arkansas defenses in his time, but really it's been, people like Taylor Green, people like KJ a few years ago, KJ Jefferson. These big body guys that are dual threat quarterbacks going to go out and do both. But if you don't got the defense to back it up, you can't win. And
they can't.
You got all these talented guys. When Arkansas had KJ Jefferson, I was an Arkansas fan. Obviously I'm pulling for Auburn, but when I watched KJ Jefferson, I thought I was watching Cam Newton. And so it really sucks if you're an Arkansas fan to see these talented players that come through Arkansas, to see these talented wide receivers, halfbacks, quarterbacks, and to be able to score with the best of them, but you don't have a defense to stop them. And like I said, that's been Sam Pittman's problem, a lot of times. And so, to see that and to know that there's not going to be a change, it's got to be heartbreaking, man. It's got to be heartbreaking.
Yeah. Got to be. While we're talking about Arkansas before we get on to Ole Miss, Arkansas, I firmly believe, is going to ruin someone's season this year. They're gonna go get somebody that they should lose to, and they're gonna beat them. Similar to Tennessee came to town last year, and everybody thinks, oh, Tennessee's got it. Tennessee's gonna win. Tennessee should win. They're the better football team. Arkansas is not supposed to be very good, but Tennessee went in there and got whooped.
Mm.
Arkansas is gonna do that to somebody this year. It was almost Ole Miss. They got a little lucky there with that fumble. Almost Ole Miss, but they're going to get somebody. Arkansas is going to get one of these big name teams. Could be A&M in Dallas. I don't know exactly what their schedule looks like, but they're gonna get one of these teams. I promise you, because they're a good football team. Oh, they're gonna beat Auburn. That's a given.
I wouldn't be surprised. We gonna see. I'm just talking. But
Y'all
now
gonna
we on
beat
the flip
Georgia
side.
and lose to Arkansas.
Very Auburn-esque. I'll tell you that.
Yep.
Now on the
That's
other
it.
side, let's talk about some Ole Miss. Man, the very clear and obvious conversation.
Yeah.
Trinidad
I already know where you're
Chambers.
going. Yep.
What in the world? I mean, a transfer from who knows where. You look on
Dude.
ESPN, you don't have none of his stats. You can't find
Dang,
anything on
Sacramento
Trinidad.
State, something like that.
You can't find it. And he
No.
comes into the SEC of all places for a school like Ole Miss, which granted is Lane Kiffin.
Yes.
He's a guru. He's gonna set you up. But 21 of 29 on a SEC defense, whether it's Arkansas or not, is impressive. 353 yards, a touchdown, no interceptions is impressive. 15 carries, 62 yards, another 2 touchdowns on top of that is impressive.
Yeah.
No matter the SEC defense, if you're coming from a nowhere school, nobody knows the first thing about you, and you come in and ball out and show who you are. And we was talking about this, like, Lane's gonna have some questions if he keeps balling like this. I think they play Tulane next, so if he can ball out against Arkansas, personally to me, Tulane shouldn't be a problem.
No.
So I mean, you saw what South Alabama did to Tulane last week. They almost upset Tulane. They balled out.
Almost.
They balled out.
Mm-hmm.
And now you up the athletes, you up the roster. It should just be 10 times easier. And let's see, they had 124 yards of total rushing. Their leading receiver only had 92 yards. He spread the ball around. Everybody got touches. So I just thought it was a very impressive game by him, even if his head coach is Lane Kiffin and that scheme is setting him up to succeed. It's really hard to judge Ole Miss quarterbacks because of the Lane Kiffin offense.
I agree.
But nonetheless, he balled out.
Yeah. One thing, I'd like to make a comparison. Kyle Shanahan, Lane Kiffin can make me and you look good in their offense.
Right.
Mac Jones balled out yesterday. He was nothing in New England. I love Mac Jones. He struggled in New England, balled out yesterday. Anybody could play in one of those two offenses. So I think that has part to do with it. But he's been around. He's mature. He's not throwing interceptions, which is Austin Simmons' big thing. And he's been throwing a lot of interceptions. You said if he keeps playing like this, Lane's going to have a decision. I think Lane's got a decision already. If you have both quarterbacks are going to put up 40-some points a game in this system. But if one can protect the football and one can't, you're going to go with the one who can protect the football. Auburn last year, yards-wise, stats-wise, talent-wise, looked great last year. But how many times did they turn the football over? Way too often.
Right.
And a lot of times in crucial moments in the game. So, yeah, you can have a guy who's probably more talented than Austin Simmons. But if he turns the ball over, I'd rather go with Chambers, whatever his name is. But he balled out.
Is that you have anything other to say than what you just did?
I don't know. I didn't get to see a ton of this game because I was flipping back and forth with the Texas A&M Notre Dame game.
Right.
But yeah, I don't know. Arkansas, they're going to be good.
Like I said about Tennessee, you said there's no such thing as a good loss per se. I think there's good losses. And I thought that Arkansas loss was a good loss. You should have won. You had the opportunity. One negative play happened the whole game, and that's what ruined it for you when a lot of people doubted you. And so
Yeah.
whether they walk away with a win or a loss, they showed something. They showed something to improve on. They showed hope. They showed that they're a real SEC team and they're here to compete with just everybody else. So and that's all I have to say about that. So with that, we're going on to the next topic, which is we both ready to talk about this. SEC quarterbacks.
Yeah.
So obviously we got to start with the two major names that everybody thought was gonna blow, and I thought one of them was bound to blow. I thought DJ was gonna be that guy. I thought DJ
Superman.
Man, I thought DJ, was gonna really impress some people because Lenora Sellers was getting all the talk. I thought DJ Lagway was gonna be what Lenora Sellers was talked about. Boy, am I wrong. And same with Arch
Everybody
Manning.
was.
Same with Arch Manning. Preseason Heisman favorite. UTEP?
UTEP booed off the field at UTEP.
I gave him the Ohio State game. That's a tough environment to walk into. That's a tough situation to be in. So I understand the Ohio State. That's your first career start against the reigning national champions in their stadium with playmakers just like you got, with defense just as good as yours. I gave him that. Everybody was hyping him up game 2 when they played, San Jose State?
Yeah.
Who cares? And that who cares carried over to UTEP. Now everybody cares. You supposed to ball out against San Jose State. You supposed to ball out against UTEP. What are we doing, dog? What are we doing? You carry the Manning name. You carry the Manning legacy. You're supposed to come correct with the Manning last name. And I can't hate. I'm not a Manning. But, what comes with that last name. There's going to be hype. There's going to be talk. You're going to be, lifted up into the media. And once you start doing those terrible things, it's just going to come down crumbling, So I don't know if it's the Steve Sarkisian offense is just too hard for some kids. Because you look at Quinn Ewers. Quinn Ewers balled out for 2 years. Then all of a sudden, the moment just too bright. Out of nowhere. I thought Quinn Ewers was a pretty decent quarterback. I didn't think he was no phenomenal, best quarterback in the nation. But I thought he was top 5, top 10. Then he comes in his senior year, and he's just not playing good. And then Arch Manning steps up to the plate after all the hype that we've heard about, and kind of does the same thing. He just, fumbling his opportunity and not doing what he needs to do when it's right there in front of him. And so I don't know, like I said, I don't know if that's a Steve Sarkisian thing, which I don't think so. I think Sark is a really good head coach. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's the offensive coordinator, the quarterback coach. I honestly can't tell you.
Yeah. I want to start off talking about Arch. He, threw 10 straight incompletions, which is unacceptable. I think part of it is the expectations were way too high for him. So I think two things can be true. The expectations were too high, and he really should be better. He is not as advertised, clearly. I don't know what his issue is. I don't think it's a mindset thing. I think he's in the right headspace. To be honest, I just really don't think he's that good. He kind of throws the ball a little weird, sidearms it a little bit. I don't know if maybe he's not getting the offense. Maybe the guys around him really aren't doing anything. But I think it's a mix of all that. I don't think he's understanding, reading defenses the right way. He's not hitting his passes. I have no doubt that he is a physical specimen. He can run. He can throw far. He can throw hard. But that doesn't always equate to completions and winning games. And I think that's pretty clear early on.
Not to stay on Arch Manning too long, but the one thing that stood out to me about Arch, coming from high school, is a lot of these kids with those names, like let's just take Bronny James for example, didn't necessarily ball out in high school. They just have the last name. Arch
Hmm.
balled in high school. He
He did.
absolutely balled out, and he deserved every compliment, all the 5-star ratings. He deserved it because that's what he did in high school.
Yeah,
But at some point, it has to translate to the college game, and it just has not. I think it eventually will.
it
I don't
hasn't.
think he'll go to the draft this year if he keeps playing like this. He's really gonna have to ramp it up. Uh,
No.
but I think he'll find a time to turn it around. I don't think he's a dud. I don't think he's a bust. I just think he has to figure it out mentally. The talent, like you said, the
Yeah.
talent's there. He's a physical specimen. He has all of it. He just has to put it together mentally. Uh,
Hmm.
and while we're here, I'll say the exact same thing about DJ Lagway, so I don't spend too much time on him. All the physicals, he just has to put it together mentally. I do think in DJ Lagway's uh, position, Billy Napier being your head coach does not help. But throwing 5 interceptions against LSU does not help your case either.
No.
But I don't want to spend all of our time on just these two. Uh, so I don't. We can't really talk about Lenora Sellers because he got hurt. But we got
Yeah.
guys like Diego Pavia. We got guys like Jackson Arnold, Ty Simpson. Both of our guys. We got guys like Trinidad Chambliss. And we got guys like Taylor Green. All of these guys
Yeah.
are balling. And Marcel Reed. I almost forgot about Marcel Reed. All of these guys are balling out. Proving that they were not talked about enough. You talk about the Arch Mannings and the DJ Lagways and the Lenora Sellers, and all of these other guys are like, hey, what about me? All of these
Yeah.
guys that I just named are balling in the current situation they're in. Not counting Trinidad Chambliss, only because he's had one game, but as much as I hate to say it, Diego Pavia has looked super impressive. Vandy
Yes.
and
Saint your dad's Vandy, dude.
Vandy don't even have, they're not pulling in the best recruit classes in the SEC. They're still Vandy when it comes to stuff like recruiting. The
Hmm.
only difference between the Vandy then and the Vandy now is literally Diego Pavia. I was watching a thing and they were saying Diego Pavia is such a dog. If it's 4th and 4, he's going to give you 4.5. If it's 3rd and 11, he's going to get you 12 yards on a pass. Diego Pavia is going to do what he needs to do to win the football game. As much as I hate the guy because he's beaten me 2 years in a row, he
Yeah.
owns Hugh Freeze. As much as I hate him, and I bet you feel some of that hatred too. But he's a dog, bruh, and you can only hate on a dog so long, man. So, Diego Pavia is really showing out. I'm back. I'm back. I'm back.
We back. We
Yeah, I
back.
don't know what happened. You find it so
I
interesting.
don't know.
You find it so interesting.
Yeah. I mean, I find it so interesting that these guys that we were not high on that had the biggest question marks are the ones delivering. If you look at it based off what I've seen, the best quarterbacks in college football, where we sit, at least in the SEC, are Ty Simpson, Gunnar Stockton, John Mateer, um, and Joey Aguilar, and then Taylor Green. No, can't disrespect Taylor Green. Taylor Green currently leads the SEC in touchdown passes with 11. The next closest is Ty Simpson with 9. So these guys that nobody was talking about
Right.
are balling out, but the guys everybody was talking about, I mean, you see it, 5 interceptions against LSU. Okay, so Florida's defense has given up what, like 18 points, uh 10 points and 20 points. If you tell them that in their 3 games they're going to average like giving up like 15, 16 points a game, they're going to be so confident that they're going to
Right.
be 3-0.
Right.
But they're not, because they keep turning the ball over.
I think
There's no.
I think the step behind. I think Florida's defense has only allowed 2 touchdowns. I don't know. That might have been another team. I know I heard it somewhere, but they've only allowed like 2 or 3 touchdowns
Yeah.
on the defensive side of the ball. And you hear that, and you
Yeah.
still see the struggles. Where is it coming from? the guy that was so highly touted, the guy that was in Heisman talk, DJ Lagway. I mean, man, it's just what you put up 16 points against USF. What are we doing? But like you said, the guys that had all the doubt, like the Ty Simpsons, we never saw him play. Like the Diego Pavia, always still Vanderbilt. Like the Taylor Greens, who didn't have the greatest year. I thought he was okay. But you look at all these guys. You throw in Jackson Arnold. This guy, wasn't supposed to be all that good coming to Auburn, and he's making all the right plays. So you see all these guys, and it really just kind of puts you in check that at the end of the day, the media just don't know anything. It's all speculation. We don't know anything until the pads are on, until we seen what they done. And my opinion is, the guys that are in this position have the talent to do so. It's only up to them to work hard and prove that they deserve their spot. And and those experts can't tell you who's working hard. They're not there. They don't know who's putting in the extra work. So when it comes to game day, when it comes to putting on the pads and clashing, that's when we know. And right now we know who the true dogs are, like the Diego Pavias, like the Ty Simpsons, like the Jackson Arnolds. So we know who these guys are, like the Taylor Greens. Who do you think at the end of the year will be looked at as the best SEC quarterback? You cut out. I don't know if you hear me.
Oh yeah. I couldn't hear you for the past 10 seconds there.
Oh, I said at the end of the year, who do you think is the best SEC quarterback?
Oh, what's the criteria? Are we doing just based off stats or stats combined with win-loss production?
Win-loss prediction to a certain degree. Like Jaden Daniels still won Heisman as 9-3.
Right.
So
yeah,
I say 8-4.
Yeah. A couple guys, 3 guys come to mind right off the bat. 4 actually. Whoever Ole Miss has at quarterback, Ole Miss, right. They're going to put up the numbers. But then a guy like Ty Simpson does, mainly because my question in Alabama's running game is I think Ty's going to have to carry a heavy load, and that's going to open up for him to get lots of stats, lots of touchdowns. He's got the second most touchdowns in the SEC so far. So he could keep doing that. Obviously, Joey Aguilar looks really good. And then John Mateer at Oklahoma. I don't think we've talked about him yet. No. I think he's really impressive. I think he's got I think the pairing with his offensive coordinator is the right one. They came down from Washington State. Everybody knows about Brent Venables' defense, but I think he's kind of stepping to the side and letting the offensive coordinator and John Mateer control this offense. And I think by the end of the season, he's going to be one of the better quarterbacks in this league. He already is, but he will definitely be. And I think he'll be a Heisman contender. Whether or not he'll be in New York at the end of the year, I don't know, but he's going to be in the conversation for at least the foreseeable future.
Yeah, I think John Mateer, definitely in that conversation. Best? See, I'm trying to be different. I don't want to just repeat what you said, but we do see a mutual in John Mateer. Yeah. I wasn't a John Mateer believer at first. I'm still not fully a John Mateer believer because they beat a ranked Michigan team. I'm not a believer.
Bad Michigan.
They went 6-6. I don't think they deserve to be ranked. I think that was just AP poll bias. We both don't like the AP poll. It is what it is.
Man.
So we'll see more as John Mateer, goes through the season. I think a guy like Joey Aguilar. I know I said I was trying to be different. You said your guy. I'm obviously gonna try to go with my guy. I think Jackson Arnold puts it together. Guy, yeah. I think Jackson Arnold puts it together. He shows right here against Oklahoma this upcoming week that he is the guy. I think he shows that he is the man. He should be in Heisman convos just like John Mateer. I think he'll show it this weekend, and I believe the talent's there. The talent around him is there. The offensive line is there. All he has to do is put it together, and so far he has not made many mistakes. I can watch a game.
No interceptions.
I've watched the Baylor game. He threw it backwards, fumble. Luckily we fell on that. Last game he threw it into double coverage to Preston Howard. I didn't like that. We got away with it, but that's 2 mistakes I watched. Against Ball State, granted, it's Ball State, 24 of 28. That's 80%.
Yeah.
That's higher than 80%. And if he keeps playing, making smart decisions with the group that he has around him, that's all he has to do. So I think guys like Jackson Arnold, John Mateer, maybe Joey Aguilar, and I'm gonna throw in Diego. I can't not put in Diego Pavia.
Now say him. Yeah, got to.
I can't not say Diego Pavia. He's literally just a dog. Like I said, this is Ethernet core next time. But, like I said, Diego Pavia's a dog, yada, yada, yada. So now, for the final segment, we're going to get into Game of the Week and predictions. You said, did you want to go with College Game Day, or did you want to go with what we thought was Game of the Week?
So, Game Day is an SEC game. Florida at Miami, so partially SEC. So we're gonna predict that as this. I think we should go what we think the game of the week is outside of the SEC.
Oh, okay. You switching up. I was ready to tell you who my game of the week was.
Who you think it is?
Come on, dog.
Hey, we're gonna predict that anyway. I think we should predict more than one. We should do quite a few.
Let me go look. I don't know who all playing, so let me look. You already got yours written down?
Yeah, I had a little something prepared.
So outside of the SEC?
Let's see. Let me pull it up. I had it in my notes. Yeah, so Texas Tech goes to Utah. Those are the 2 favorites in the Big 12. Could have massive Big 12 championship implications, which could mean playoff implications, right? So those are the 2 favorites right now in that conference, and a lot of people not talking about it, but they kick off on Fox 11 a.m. this weekend. I'm looking forward to watching this game.
I think between that game and an ranked game, Nebraska-Michigan. Michigan's still ranked. Did I just cut out again, bro? Oh, my God. Oh, I'm losing.
Yeah.
Oh, man. All right. But I think Nebraska has a chance to upset Michigan. If Michigan is the real deal, that'll put Nebraska in, contention. I don't think they're, a playoff team or anything, but I think Nebraska is a solid team and can upset the world, so. But with those 2 games, I'm going to take Utah, and I'm going to take the upset in Nebraska. I brought it up for a reason.
We both agree. I was decided between the game I said and the game you said, ironically. So we're on the same page here. But we also agree.
My bad. I didn't mean to cut you off.
No. Yeah, we agree. I think Utah, one of the more underrated teams in the country. I don't necessarily think they're competing for a national title, but they are a really good football team. Kyle Whittingham, he's been around for a long time. I don't know why we doubt him. They had a bad year last year, but that's the state of college football. They're back this year. They're at home. Texas Tech does have all those transfers. Might take them a little long to gel perfectly. I think by the end of the season, they could probably beat Utah in a neutral site. But right here, sitting at week 4, I think Utah gets it done at home.
Well, what I think, and somebody I don't think the nation is talking about enough, not just these sport experts, but just sports media in general. Yeah. Utah brought in a really good transfer of their own, Devin Dampier.
They did.
And he's been balling. He's been balling. And you take out what was it, Cam Rising, and put him in, totally different offense. So
Yeah.
I think just for that reason alone, I think Devin Dampier gives Utah that edge over Texas Tech that Texas Tech does not have. I think he's gonna do what it takes to get it done. He can beat you with his legs. He can beat you with his arm. It doesn't matter. I think he's one of the top 10 best quarterbacks in the entire nation. Uh,
Yeah.
so I think for that reason alone, they beat Texas Tech.
Yeah. Yeah. I like what you said about Devin Dampier. I think he's really good. One of the best quarterbacks in the nation. Brings something to this offense that Kyle Whittingham at Utah has not had in a while. Uh, so for that reason, yeah, I'm gonna take Texas Tech probably because of what they do on the offensive side of the ball. I think they're gonna probably get in the high 30s, low 40s, and it'll be good enough to win.
You said Texas Tech?
Oh, Utah.
Okay. And to cover the Nebraska Michigan game, I didn't know this, but Nebraska's actually favored. So I guess it's not as much of an upset as I'm thinking.
Nah.
But Nebraska is favored just by a little bit. So I'm assuming. Hopefully, that is the last time that will happen.
There you go.
Next time, my Ethernet cord will be plugged up. But
no,
it's a Nebraska home game. I think somebody they don't talk about enough, along with Devin Dampier, is the Pat Mahomes mimic. I think Dylan Raiola is actually a pretty good quarterback. I don't think,
I agree.
I don't think he's just, just some guy who pretends to be Pat Mahomes. I think he's an actual good quarterback. He's a true sophomore. I don't think he's thrown an interception yet this year on good percentages. I don't know if that's a fact.
Yeah.
I can pull it up right here. Eight touchdowns, 0 interceptions, 829 yards. He's balling. They played at Cincinnati and nobody's, but I think they go in there, which Michigan is Michigan. They're always gonna have a good pass rush, always gonna have a good defense. So if he can get through that and he can battle that defense, I think they can pull out and win the game. I really like Dylan Raiola. Their defense. It impressed me when I watched the Cincinnati game. It is Cincinnati. This is a real Big Ten school that they're going up against. So they're gonna have to bring it. But if that defense plays anything like they did against Cincinnati, I think they walk out of there with a win.
Yeah. No, part of it's I'm actually really high on Nebraska. I think given their schedule, this is a team. Depending on what else happens around the country, that can get to that 9-3 mark, and it might just be good in the playoffs. I wouldn't put money on it, but the path is there. I am a believer in Dylan Raiola. I think he is really good. Patrick Mahomes, off-brand Patrick Mahomes, but he's balling. He's really good, like you said. 3 touchdowns, no interceptions. I'm not too high on Michigan. Bryce Underwood being a freshman going into what will probably be the craziest environment outside of Oklahoma so far in his career. I think Michigan's a year or two away from really competing. So, like you said, Nebraska is technically favored. But Michigan's ranked going into Omaha. That place is going to be rocking, and I'm going to go with Nebraska.
I also think, nobody gives Matt Rule enough credit. He went to the NFL, didn't really work out in the NFL at Carolina. He came back to college. And I think he's been doing pretty solid in Nebraska. I think he's I'm not saying he's a great college coach, but I think he's a pretty solid coach, and I don't think people give him Matt Rule enough credit for what he does in the college level.
Yeah, I agree.
So SEC predictions, and we're gonna get on out of here.
All right.
We're gonna save Auburn and Alabama for last. Well, Alabama don't play this weekend.
Yeah, Alabama's got a bye.
So we're gonna save my team for last now.
Yeah, we'll do it. That's the SEC game of the week between 2 SEC teams. That's it right there.
To me, that is just straight up game of the week. I think that's the best game that's gonna happen all week. Let me see. So I know UAB and Tennessee play, obviously, Tennessee. But I have ties to UAB. You got ties to UAB. We hoping for a UAB upset. Not going to happen.
Yeah, you know
but it. If they put up 28, 35 points, that's a win. Not going to happen.
Yeah, I think here's the interesting part about that game is I think the spread right now is 40. I think UAB actually covers that.
Yeah.
I think that UAB offense is good, and I think they scored enough to. I mean, they're probably still gonna get beat by 20, 30
Yeah.
points, but I don't think they get beat by. I don't think they get 40 piece.
Well, I like maybe UAB will put up somewhere close to 17 points, and to me, that'll be good enough. The only thing about UAB
Yeah, that should
is
be
they don't have the defense worth anything.
no defense.
No defense at all.
No defense.
So that's a game that we both had tied to. It's not gonna work out the way we want it, and that's okay. Arkansas plays Memphis. I haven't watched any Memphis football. Can't tell you how good they are. Don't know the first thing about Memphis. I just know what I watched from Arkansas this week. Taylor Green, he's gonna dominate anybody that's not in the SEC. So we both got Arkansas. I think.
Definitely. Yeah, I'm a certified Memphis hater too, so I think Arkansas is gonna win by about 60.
North Illinois plays Mississippi State. Last year, North Illinois came with an upset.
They did. Not gonna happen this
Mississippi
week
State not that good. They did impress. What was it? Week 1 or week 2 against Arizona State. They impressed. Honestly, maybe something to look at. I'm just reaching right now. So we're gonna see what happens. Obviously, I'm going Mississippi State.
Give me
Blake
Hail State.
Saban gonna throw it all over the yard. So our first SEC matchup that we're gonna talk about: South Carolina, Missouri. Not knowing about how Lenore Sellers is, I don't think he's gonna be able to play. And that Missouri rushing attack looks elite. They got the quarterback that I wanted out of the portal. Over there.
Pabula, just a dog.
No, the running back.
Oh.
I think his name is Harvey. He came from
Maybe.
I think it was from Louisiana Monroe. Man, he was a dog out of the portal. He just ran for like 200 yards last week. I got Missouri. I think they're gonna run it all over South Carolina. I don't think South Carolina has the offensive power to do anything without Lenora Sellers. To stay in the game with Missouri. Missouri doesn't have a particularly good defense, so they might score some. They might make it close at times, but I think Missouri will control the whole game. So I got Missouri winning by 2 possessions. I don't know if it's 2 touchdowns, touchdown and a field goal, but I got them winning by 2 possessions.
Yeah, I'm agree. I'm going to go with Missouri solely because Lenore Sellers, we don't know if he's going to play or not. Shane Beamer's refusing to talk about it. I was reading an article today. He is outright refusing, and that tells me that he's probably not going to play.
Going to be there.
I'm not confident in the rest of South Carolina. They have no good wins. Their wins that they have were not pretty. It was against a terrible Virginia Tech team who fired their coach yesterday, 3 weeks into the season. So South Carolina as a team does not impress me. Lenore Sellers has underdelivered, but he's hurt regardless. So going into Missouri, like I said, I like their running back. I like their quarterback. I agree with you. I don't think it's even going to be that close.
Okay. Hey, we'll see. I'm not sold on the Missouri is a ranked team. I'm not sold on it yet. That's the only reason I say that. I think South Carolina still has an SEC defense, and they're going to hold them to a certain point. But, we both see the same outcome. Florida, Miami. Oh, my God. Please don't tell me I just froze again. Nah, that was you. That was you that time.
Yeah, that was me. I'm back, though.
Okay.
Yeah.
But Florida, Miami is where we're at. I think I started with Missouri, so I'm going to let you take this one.
So I think, man, I have no confidence in Florida as a football team right now. So Miami.
I want to say Miami, but I also want to say Florida. I feel like at some point Florida is due for a bounce back game. I feel like at some point Florida is going to show the potential of why they had the hype coming into the season to be a competent team, to be a competing team. Is that against Miami? I do not know. DJ Lagway just came off of 5 interceptions in a singular game to LSU, who I don't think is, I don't think LSU's bad, but I don't think LSU's as good as everybody says they are. So unfortunately, I'm going to take Carson Beck and the Miami Hurricanes. I think Florida will show some fight. I just don't think they have enough to win a ball game. Not right now.
Yeah, I agree.
Georgia State Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt looks the way they have the last 3 weeks. Then it's another, just easy win. I'm gonna go Vandy. I mean, hey, some people say that Georgia State like to pop out every now and then and compete with SEC teams, such as like the Auburn Tigers and stuff like that. Thank you, TJ Finley. But nah, Vandy gonna dog walk them, cakewalk.
Too much. Anchor down.
Southeast Louisiana versus LSU. LSU obviously. Texas versus Sam Houston. A game to watch. You just struggled against UTEP. I think Sam Houston is a better team than UTEP. So if he struggles like that again, potential upset alert. So, just keep an eye out on that. I still think Texas is gonna win. I think Arch has a better game. I don't know if he has an amazing game. We're gonna see. But we'll see about that. Tulane Ole Miss is one I skipped over for a reason. I know what I said earlier. I know how they just did it to Arkansas in SEC defense. I think Tulane is slept on. I think this is a game to watch. I think this is an upset alert game. I think Tulane, they just paid all of that money to get the transfer quarterback. What's his name?
Jake Ratcliffe.
Was that Jake?
Jewish dude from BYU?
About, I think it was Darian Mensah. They just paid Darian Mensah.
Oh yeah.
They paid all of this money to go get Darian Mensah to ball out for him. I think he's a solid quarterback. I don't know about top 10 or anything like that, but I think he can hang in with Ole Miss. If Ole Miss is gonna let Arkansas put up those numbers, I think a Tulane offense can also put up something similar. I'm not saying they can score 40 on an SEC defense by anybody, but I think they can get to that 30 range considering it is Ole Miss and they are a talented offense. So if Ole Miss makes a few mistakes, if Chambliss is, a one-hit wonder, we might be seeing a game to watch.
Yeah.
I still have Ole Miss.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I'm gonna go Ole Miss. I think their offense is just gonna be too much.
Mm-hmm.
Could be high scoring, really. Probably take the over in that game, but I'm still gonna go Ole Miss.
And then the last one to talk about, Auburn, Oklahoma. I've been waiting to talk about this the whole show. I'll let you go first.
Boomer Sooner. I think the crowd is gonna be there. I think Oklahoma has a better team. I think they have a better defense. I think they have a better quarterback. I think they have a better offensive coordinator. I don't see why Oklahoma shouldn't win this game unless Jackson Arnold proves everyone wrong, including yourself, because you're high on him. But I think there is a cap to what he can do with his arm. Like, I don't think he can be the best thrower in the nation, is what I mean. But I think he's going to have to do something insane with his arm, or they're going to have to rush for like 350. And I just don't see Auburn doing that. I think this is where Jackson Arnold finally turns the ball over. Don't know how many times, but this can be the best defense he's played all year. One of the better defenses in the nation. So, I think Auburn struggles. I think Oklahoma wins. Not by a ton, but somewhat comfortably.
I think we agree with one thing. No, we agree with two things. Jackson Arnold will have his first turnover. That I 100% see happening. But I think Jackson Arnold is going to shock the world. I think Jackson Arnold is going to show why he might not be the better quarterback. I think John Mateer is the better quarterback. But I think he's going to show Oklahoma what they did, who they created, the mess that they made. I think Jackson Arnold is going to have a revenge game. Look, you have two types of players. When you're betrayed, when you hear something said to you and it rubs you the wrong way, you either bow down at the moment or you rise at the moment. I've seen a lot of Jackson Arnold, from last year. I saw a lot of Jackson Arnold in high school. I saw Jackson Arnold in his debut in the bowl game that they played in his first Oklahoma game, and I've watched him this year. I think Jackson Arnold, when he gets animated, when he gets to feeling himself, when he feels that dog that he has in him, he gets to go and he doesn't think. He lets the game come to him. And when he does that, I don't think there's a team he can't beat. I don't think there's a defense that can stop him. I think Jackson Arnold will prove that he's a Heisman candidate for a reason this week. Obviously, I'm an Auburn fan, so I'm supposed to say this. I think the crowd's going to be there. I think it'll be a close game. But the matchup people aren't talking about enough. Obviously, everybody wants to talk about Jackson Arnold, John Mateer. They want to talk about that offense, this offense. Nobody's talking about Auburn's defense versus Oklahoma's offense. I think that is the key matchup that will win each team the game. If Oklahoma goes out and they execute how they want to execute and play the way that they want to play, Oklahoma's going to win. But if Auburn can stop them in the red zone and stop them from scoring, if they can hold them to what Michigan held them to, I believe Auburn walks out of there with a win. 24 points does not scare me with this Auburn offense. I think, with the way that they've been playing, like I said earlier, this is the best play calling I've seen from Hugh as an Auburn Tiger. He's playing to win the game, not to be flashy, not trying to do things when he had Peyton Thorne as his quarterback. At times when he had Peyton Thorne, he was trying to do too much. He was trying to put too much in Peyton's hands, and Peyton would take that opportunity and throw the game away. I think Hugh Freeze and Jackson Arnold have a connection right now. Jackson Arnold knows what Hugh Freeze wants. Hugh Freeze knows what he wants for Jackson Arnold. I think he will put him in the opportunity to succeed. And I don't think it has to be with his arm. Countless time, I've seen this offensive line dominate in the run game. Every game, the offensive line, when it comes to their run game, has been dominant. No other word should be used when it comes to their run blocking. Holes, I could run through there, be untouched. So I think it's a very balanced game from Auburn. I think they win by 10 points. Sue me.
Hey, I wouldn't expect anything else.
But at the same time, Oklahoma could win, and I'm just talking as an Auburn fan. This is where all the analytics go out. I'm talking from straight Auburn heart.
Hey, that's why they play the game. Anything can happen, for sure.
But with that being said, you have any final words? Anything left you want to say?
I'll say this: if LSU doesn't get their run game together, they're going to lose 3 or 4 games.
I don't think LSU is as good as everybody thinks they are.
I agree.
I'm with you on that one. I think they're overhyped. I don't think they're number 3 team in the nation.
No, but we didn't talk about them at all. So I just had to get that out the way.
No, that's fair. That's fair. I don't blame you. Did you see the Brian Kelly explosion in post game interview when all he asked was, "Y'all gonna get it together"? That's all he asked.
Yeah.
This is normal. This is normal questions for you, Coach. You're supposed to be ready to answer this. You're the media servant.
Somebody needs to get him media trained, and as if he couldn't become any more unlikable, somehow he did.
I mean, even without that, you're still the head coach of an SEC football team.
Yeah.
Those types of questions are expected. If you get mad at that, that's when I start raising eyebrows about the team you got.
Yeah. So, yeah, I agree. without that long run at the very end, they only had 51 yards rushing the whole entire game.
Yeah, he was like,
So
that's what he said in the interview.
that's not going to cut it.
He was like, oh, man, all you need is one. All you need is... Nah, man. When you start playing teams that aren't Florida, we going to see. When the opposing team's quarterback not throwing 5 interceptions, we going to see. But
hey, look, the way Alabama's offense is playing, them going into Bryant Denny Stadium, if that running game still looks like the way it does now, that game could get ugly.
yeah, we're gonna see.
And they have a few more like that too. So
we'll get to that prediction when it gets here. Y'all got to get
way
to
on down
Georgia
the road.
first. All right. Well, with that being said, that wraps
we'll
up.
talk about that next week.
Oh yeah. Next Monday, for all the people in the back, same time, about 7:15, 7:30. If no technical difficulties are there. But with that being said, that wraps up the first episode of War Tide Podcast. That's Tide. I'm War. So we're going to catch you in the next one. Appreciate you.